All right, guys, Fed Chairman Powell has just spoken to the Senate, and we're doing a reaction video today. If you're new to the channel, two things I want you to do. Subscribe and also go to our sponsor, dynastyowner.com. Spoiler alert, I own dynastyowner.com. And that's one of the benefits of our channel. We only have endorsements and sponsorships from the people and the companies that we own and we trust. So it's the most realistic business aspect of fantasy sports. Get ready now because it's awesome. So Powell's under a lot of heat. Inflation's rising. Unemployment's very low. Low unemployment drives up costs. Think about it this way. The unemployment rate, the Fed wants unemployment somewhere in 5 to 6%. The lower unemployment is, as I'm sure a lot of you will sit out there and see, it's harder and harder to get good people to work. So you got to pay more money to keep good people. When you pay more money, two things happen. People have more money in their pockets, so now there's more money chasing goods, and the cost for services and goods that are manufactured go up, right? If you're in a factory and the average labor cost is $15 an hour and suddenly inflation hits or unemployment's so low they need to raise the wages and the average wage goes to $20 an hour, well, what's going to happen to the cost of those goods? They're going to go up. And guys, business people are not going to sit there and do it for free. And I know a lot of people out there think that, you know, if a company sells a product for $10, there's 90% margin there. Guys, these aren't sneakers from China. Not everything is like that. Most companies have about a 10 or 15% profit margin at most. So if their costs go up 10%, they're wiped out. There's no more profit. And as much as we'd like to think that businessmen and women are going to do things for free, it ain't going to happen. There's got to be proper incentives for everybody. So right now, the Fed is trying to balance all of this together. And I do not envy Fed Chairman Powell. He's in a tough position. He's got a lot of people attacking him. You weren't aggressive. I was one of the people who said he wasn't aggressive enough. I thought he was completely complacent to President Trump when President Trump was in office, even though Trump had said we want to raise rates before he became president. Suddenly he becomes president and that goes away. Oh, I want lower rates. No, guys, we want to have a society in which things can grow in a stable fashion. That doesn't happen with 0%. That's what creates bubbles. When you have 0%, people just want to go out there and invest in anything because it's easy to beat 0%. But that's what creates bubbles, and that is a problem. Now, we've seen home mortgage rates skyrocket in the last year and a half. I get it. It sucks. But for those of you who bought a house or refinanced last year and a half, you're sitting in a wonderful, wonderful mortgage. Nothing in this world is good or bad in and of itself. It's on the grand scheme. So we're going to watch some comments that he made.
My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation is causing significant hardship, and we're strongly committed to returning inflation to our 2% goal. Over the past year, we've taken forceful actions to tighten the stance of monetary policy. We have covered a lot of ground, and the full effects of our tightening so far are yet to be felt. Even so, we have more work to do. Our policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices.
So let's go to that real quick. That's the first thing I want to hear. That's the Fed's mandate. The Fed's mandate is not stock prices, not real estate prices. Their mandate is full employment, which doesn't mean 100% employment. It means about 5 or 6% unemployment and stable prices. That means stable inflation. Now, my personal opinion is I think 2% is going to be difficult for a long-term range. Yes, we've had that over the last 15 or 20 years, essentially around 2 to 3%. It's just a hard pill to swallow when you have so much money printing going on. But I'm glad he has said these words. And that's what I want everybody watching to realize. It's not about stock prices. If you're looking at Fed Chair Powell to help you with your 401k or your brokerage account, that is not what they're supposed to be doing. I wouldn't take it out of their realm of possibility, but it's not what they're supposed to be doing. And unfortunately, in this world, since we've gotten so much more media attention to the Fed chair and to their statements, it's a lot harder for him to be independent. Let's continue on.
Economy does not work for anyone. In particular, without price stability, we will not achieve a sustained period of labor market conditions that benefit all.
Stable prices benefit everyone. It's very difficult in a world in which lower middle class and anywhere in the low class and middle class are able to achieve a lot more with higher prices. It's very, very difficult. Look at it out there right now. It takes a while for wages to catch up. So when your gas pump and your electric bill and your cost to do something in your house skyrockets 20% and you're still waiting for the wages to catch up, that's hard for you. And that's why it's about being proactive and being aggressive to keep the prices down. All right, guys, ironically, we're about ready to hear a question from Senator John Kennedy. No relation whatsoever, a Republican Party member in Louisiana, not related to John F. Kennedy, not related to the Kennedy family as far as I know. But let's hear his question.
If Congress reduced the rate of growth in its spending and reduced the rate of growth in its debt accumulation, it would make your job easier in reducing inflation, would it not?
I don't think fiscal policy right now is a big factor driving
wow.
at this moment.
Really?
But it's absolutely essential that we do slow the pace of growth, particularly for the areas of the budget.
All right, let's try to unpack this then. I'm not trying to trick you. You're raising interest rates. You're raising interest rates to slow the economy, are you not?
Yes, to cool the economy off.
And one of the ways you measure your success, other than fluctuation in gross domestic product, is the unemployment rate. Is it not?
Yes, one of the measures.
Okay. So in effect, I'm not being critical. When you're slowing the economy, you're trying to put people out of work. That's your job.
Oh boy, that's a loaded question.
Not really. We're trying to restore price stability.
So this is a trick question. I mean, yes, he's trying to put people out of work. When you're trying to raise the unemployment rate, and you notice what he said in the opening, we're trying to get to full unemployment. Full employment. People don't know what that means. But right now, we have 3.4% unemployment. We have 3.4% unemployment, right? So what does that mean? Well, 3.4% to 5.5% is 2%. How many people work in this country right now? 100 million, 110, I don't know what the exact number is. This is 2 million jobs all day long. That we need 2 million more people out of work. That's kind of an unfair question, I think, for Fed Chair Powell, because yes, everyone is affected. Yes, people are going to be affected who lose their jobs more than people who don't lose their jobs. But the effects are going to be worse with high inflation. Now, I am surprised he talked about the fiscal policy not being a big factor right now. I kind of think that's a big reason why we have this problem to begin with. Once we started printing these checks and we just started spending money, all of a sudden, inflation started to skyrocket. Why? Because people got more money. Oh, why should I go work? I'm getting $600 a week from the government. I don't need to get a job. And then all of a sudden, job creators like me had to go pay more money to get people out of getting checks from the government. That's the big key here. So I'm actually surprised he's saying that, but I don't like this trick question stuff. I just think it's kind of unfair to Senator Powell. Chairman Powell. He's trying to get more people to lose their jobs. Yes, he is. That's the key to get to full. I mean, how else do you go from 3.4% unemployment to 5.5%? Unless you sit there and say we're going to add 20 million more people to the job market and actually take away 20 million people from the job market, and that's how you job. I don't know. That's the only way to do it. And even then, that's less people looking for a job. That's kind of an unfair question. I don't really like that, but let's go on.
No, you're trying to raise wages. You're trying to raise the unemployment rate. I know you don't like the phrase, so let me strike it. You're trying to raise the unemployment rate, are you not?
He just said it again.
No, we're not trying to raise it. We're trying to realign supply and demand, which could happen through a bunch of channels. Like, for example, just job openings.
All right, let me put it another way, okay? The Economist did a wonderful study. They looked at 10 disinflationary periods in America going all the way back to the 1950s. Disinflation is what you're trying to do. It's a slowing in the rate of inflation. Am I right?
Yes.
In other words, prices don't go down, they just don't go up as fast. Deflation is when prices actually go down. You're trying to achieve disinflation, are you not?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes,
based on history.
because deflation can actually be worse because people will put off a lot of spending because they're like, hey, I might as well just wait until I absolutely need to buy this because if I wait 3 months, it's going to be cheaper. So I might as well wait. I have my money in my account. I might as well wait, buy this item cheaper, right? Just like cars, just like computers, those things automatically go lower and lower in price. You get more bang for the buck, so you put it off until you absolutely need to. So let's see what Senator John Kennedy has to say.
In the 10 times that we got inflation down, disinflation since the 1950s, in order to reduce inflation by 2%, unemployment had to go up 3.6%. Now that's history, is it not?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yes, the standard has been that there have been recessions and downturns when the Fed has tried to reduce inflation.
Now, right now, the
Poor
current
guy.
inflation rate 6.4% and the current unemployment rate is 3.4%. Now, if history is right, I'm not asking you to again blame anybody, but if history is right, unless you get some help, in order to get inflation down from 6%.
How does Fair Chairman Powell even sleep last night? He's just like, I'm going to go in tomorrow and just be some whipping boy. And they're just going to all just say terrible things to me. And they're going to try to put me in this guy, Senator Kennedy's even saying I'm not trying to trick you. It's like, then he said, I'll strike the statement. Then he repeated the statement again. Did he not? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought he said, I know you don't want to say it that way, but let me strike that statement. Let me recap. You need people to lose jobs, correct? Wait a second, it's the exact same statement. Maybe I misheard it, but oh boy, this is tough.
0.4% to
killer glasses though.
4%, and the unemployment rate is going to have to rise to 7% based on history.
That's what the record would say.
Okay, and to get inflation down to 2.2% based on history, an immutable fact. Unemployment would have to go to 10.6%. Would it not?
I wouldn't.
That's what the record shows. That's what the history shows.
Yeah, I don't think that kind of a number is at all in play here.
I know you're reluctant to admit it, and you don't want to get in the middle of this policy dispute. But I think it's undeniable.
Undeniable.
It's undeniable.
Undeniable, Senator Kennedy.
The only way we're going to get this sticky inflation down is to attack it on the monetary side, which you're doing, and on the fiscal side, which means Congress has got to reduce the rate of growth of spending and reduce the rate of growth of debt accumulation. Now, I get that you don't want to get in the middle of that fight. But the more we help on the fiscal side, the fewer people you're going to have to put out of work. Isn't that a fact?
Please answer.
It could work out that way.
Okay.
Sir?
It could work out that way.
Yes.
Wow. Basically, what he's saying is, I'm hoping Senator Kennedy believes this, because it's hard for me to believe that any Democrat or Republican really believes in less spending and a more balanced budget. But what he's basically saying is, as we incur more and more debt through deficit spending, that's increasing inflation. So if we stop doing that, that'll help. And maybe Chairman Powell is saying that in order to say, hey, listen, you idiots can handle this yourself just by doing your job, what you're supposed to do, which is balance the budget. But who knows? Okay, another clip.
Interest rates 8 times over the last year in what has been the most extreme rate hike cycle in 40 years. The Fed's goal is to slow inflation, and your tool, raising interest rates, is designed to slow the economy and throw people out of work. So far, you haven't tipped the economy into recession, but you haven't brought inflation entirely under control either. And maybe the reason for that is that other things are also keeping prices high, things you can't fix with high interest rates, things like price gouging and supply chain kinks and a war in Ukraine.
Price gouging.
You're determined to continue to raise interest rates, so I want to take a look at where you're headed. In December, the Fed released its projections on the state of the economy under your monetary policy plan. According to the Fed's own report, if you continue raising interest rates as you plan, unemployment will be 4.6% by the end of the year.
Which is still low.
A full point higher than it is today. Chair Powell, if you hit your projections, do you know how many people who are currently working, going
God, this is such bullshit.
lose their jobs?
I don't I don't have that number in front of me. I will say it's not
just
an
a math
intended
problem.
consequence. It's
Well,
not.
but it is, and it's in your report, and that would be about 2 million people who would lose their jobs. People who are working
I'm
right now,
getting
making their
so
mortgages.
fired up.
So, Chair Powell, if you could speak directly to the 2 million.
Hey, Senator Warren, when you want higher minimum wage and that removes jobs from people who are willing to do it for $10 an hour because you want $15 an hour because a business owner has to make their overhead and make their profit for their investors and for themselves, how do you explain that to those people that you just said you just lost a job? When you go to McDonald's and you see order here and it's all done by robots, how do you explain that to the kids who want to get their first job at the age of 16 sitting in McDonald's who are willing to work for $10 an hour because they're 16 years old? And even somebody who's 35, who's fine making $12 or $13 an hour, but you insist on 15, so the McDonald's people go, we're going to put up robots then, and we're going to eliminate all humans. How do you explain that to them, Senator Warren? How? Oh my God, this liberal fucking bullshit is just absolutely fucking stupid. And I know if you're watching and you're liberal, I get it. You hate me. I'm fine with that. But this is an absolutely asinine argument. Oh, maybe I'm not being fair. I don't know. I just don't think this is oh man. Let's continue listening to Pocahontas.
Hardworking people who have decent jobs today, who you're planning to get fired over the next year. What would you say to them? How would you explain your view that they need to lose their jobs?
I would explain to people more broadly that inflation is extremely high and it's hurting the working
Everyone.
people of this
Yes,
country badly.
absolutely.
All of them, not just 2 million of them, but all of them are suffering
Absolutely.
under high inflation, and we are taking the only measures we have to bring inflation down.
And putting 2 million people out of work is just part of the cost, and they just have to.
God.
Will working people be better off if we just walk away from our jobs and inflation remains 5-6%?
Let me ask you about what happens if you do this.
Oh, you didn't answer the question,
Since the end
Senator
of
Warren.
World War II, there have been 12 times in which the unemployment rate has increased by 1 percentage point within 1 year. Exactly what you're aiming to do right now. How many of those times
led to recession?
Did the U.S. economy
100% of the time.
avoid falling into a recession?
0%.
You know, it's not as black and white as it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not as black and white. I mean, yes, guys, recessions have to happen. We can't have everybody. This is the problem. If you want everybody to have everything, you get bubbles. And bubbles bursting are way worse than just every so often having a recession. Problem is, we haven't had a real recession. Forget about COVID. We haven't had a recession since 2008, 2009. Is that really normal? Can you go full steam for that long as an economy? You're supposed to have a recession every 5 or 6 years. COVID was, I don't really call it I mean, yes, it was a recession, but it was caused by some outside, not the economy cooling down on its own. The U.S. economy was just shut down. This is an absolutely asinine line of questioning. And why do I keep calling him Senator Powell? Chairman Powell is right. Having 2 million people more lose their jobs so that 100 million more people can live a decent life. Unfortunately, it is the case, and we can't think about individuals when it comes to the entire economy, because everything that's happened will also hurt somebody else. Everything bad that happens helps somebody else. To me, I tell you, are you a good worker? Yes. Then you should want recessions because it allows you to shine. Yes, you're going to have jobs go out of, but at the end of the day, if I'm a business owner and I have to lay off 10% of my staff, who am I laying off? The 10 most productive or the 10 least productive? And I love it when I hear people say like, oh, I got laid off. Oh, your entire company went under? No, they laid off 20%. So they laid off the 20% that wasn't justifying their pay. Got it. So you just basically told me that you lost your job because you're not very efficient. Go ahead and comment and tell me what an a-hole I am. I'm fine with that. But at the end of the day, go look at people's incentives. If I have to lay off 20% of my workforce, I'm going to lay off the 20% that I don't need as much. The 20% that is least productive for me. Now, a lot of people are going to get laid off because a whole line of business isn't needed. That's a totally separate situation. But if you're talking about Salesforce, If you're talking about a factory line that's sitting there and demand has dropped 20%, I'm going to drop off the 20% of my factory line that it is not as productive. See you later. Sorry. And this is why unions suck, because they don't allow for that. This is why Senator Warren, oh my God. Oh, she is. Let's listen.
Just
very
looking at the numbers, it actually is pretty black.
Alan
and white.
Blinder's written a book on this.
There have been 12 times that we've seen a 1 point increase in the unemployment rate in a year. That's exactly what your Fed report has put out as the projection and the plan based on how you're going to keep raising these interest rates. How many times did the economy
This is why I can't be Fed chair.
fall into a recession after doing that? Out of 12 times.
I think the number is 0.
I think the number is 0. That's exactly
Amazing.
right. So
Senator
then
Warren.
The question becomes, we've got 2 million people out of work. Can you stop it at 2 million people? History suggests that the Fed has a terrible track record of containing modest increases in the unemployment rate. Once the
Is she running for president?
shedding jobs, it's kind of like a runaway
wait.
train. It is really hard to stop. In fact, in 11 out of the 12 times,
She's so stupid. I can't listen any further. Might as well get AOC up here. What other clip do we have to look at?
For that tomorrow. We could have that tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you're right. What other video clip do we have to? Guys, I just get very frustrated with this because this is absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. Guys, Senator Warren, guess what? I guarantee she has investments, and if they went down because they made less money, she would be livid. And that's exactly what she's sitting here trying to do. Great. Keep people on that aren't needed. How's your 401k going to do? How are the companies that you invest in who are just going to keep people on, paying them more money? You complain about Walmart? I guarantee Senator Warren's complaining about Walmart. Walmart has 4% margin. They employ, 2.5, 3 million people? They increase their costs in labor by $4 per hour. Let's do the math here. $4 per hour. $4 per hour, 2.5 million people, 20 hours a week, 52 weeks out of the year. That's $10.4 billion. The company last year made like $20 billion. That's half their profit gone. Multiply this by 15, you just wiped out $160 billion in market cap off Walmart. I'm quite sure when Senator Warren's Walmart stock, which I guarantee she has in some mutual fund or something, goes down, she's then going to blame Walmart, saying, you greedy executives. It's like, what is going on? You can't have your cake and eat it too. I'm sorry. You just can't. How did this become so political? All right, new quote.
Average home buyer. But this is not just a city problem. Harris County, Georgia, with a population of less than 35,000 sitting on the border of Alabama, is also rated as unaffordable. In the midst of this housing crisis, the Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates. This makes mortgages a lot more expensive for families.
Guys, how many people have mortgages right now? Like, we literally came off a time when literally if you didn't have a house, you just 3.5 or 3%, and now you're upset about this? Like, guys, give me a break. First off, 6-7% is not some unreasonable mortgage rate over history. It's a very reasonable rate over history. Now we're just spoiled. If you're telling me if we went to 0% interest, we'd be complaining about 3.5%. Let's keep it in perspective here. Again, I draw my analogy. It's like Tiger Woods going to his wife, like, hey, honey, good news. I only cheated on you 8 times this week. She wouldn't be pleased. She'd be like, you're not supposed to be cheating me at all. Well, it was 20 times a week before that. Guys, come on. 6%, 7%, that's about what interest rates should be for a mortgage. And you should have down payment. And you should pay it down. Like, these are the things that happen. But now we're complaining because he needs to get reelected, and he knows he will be blamed by the constituents come reelection time.
Especially young families looking to buy a house. According to the National Association of Realtors, the share of first-time home buyers is at an all-time low, while the average age of a purchaser is at an all-time high.
Why is that a problem?
Chair Powell, you have said that
It's not the government's job to make sure everybody has a home. Where's personal accountability? I know a lot of kids in their sub-30s who spent hundreds of dollars a week going out and partying. Why should they have a home? They want to go spend $1,000 a week or whatever it is. Sorry, $1,000 a month, whatever it is, partying. You shouldn't have a home. Don't complain. I didn't do that. I didn't go out and spend hundreds of dollars a week going out and partying. And you're going to put me in the same boat as those idiots? No. Shut the F up. I didn't go out there and buy, all these stupid things I didn't need in my 20s. I waited till my late 30s before I started buying all the stupid things I didn't need. I made sacrifices. That's it. I haven't drank in my life. How much money have I saved? Okay. But now we have this world in which everybody has to have everything. Everybody needs to own a home. No, they don't. Not everybody needs to own. By the way, not everybody wants to own a home. Sometimes it's not better to own a home. Sometimes it's more expensive to own a home than rent. Yes, I said that. Go look at San Francisco. Go look at New York City. It's probably better off renting than owning a home. I haven't done the numbers, but when you have the average price to income of 10, 11 times, at some point I sit there and say, wait a second, this doesn't make sense for me. Why would you own a home? This is stupid. This is entitlement. This is absolutely entitlement. And guess what entitlement costs? It costs people money. It costs you money. You will be paying for everybody's entitlement. Everybody should have a college education. Now what do we complain about? College is too much. It's like, well, you want everybody to have college education. That's why colleges cost too much. You told people take whatever loans you have to. It's going to make you $1 million in your lifetime. As I've always said, if everybody in the world has a PhD, we have PhDs working at McDonald's. Just remember that. Everybody had to have a college education. What's the number one crisis right now that Democrats like him and Democrats like Warren want to get rid of? Loans. Who's going to pay for those loans? Not the responsible people who worked through college to pay them off and worked after college to pay them off. You want to have everybody having a house? Guess what happens? It's called a financial crisis. That's what happened in 07 and 08. Because everybody had to have a home. It's the American dream. Why? Stop buying in this BS, guys. Do I really need to watch anymore?
An imbalance
Yes.
in the housing market. But if you're a Georgia family, parents in the mid-30s, young children, and all you want is to be able to afford your first home and place and build equity to one day pass that equity on to your kids, how are the Fed's actions?
Until you tax it, because it's awful to pass on equity and money to your children, because that's terrible. You shouldn't be allowed to pass on money to your kids because that's not fair to other people. Go ahead.
Helping that family afford a home.
Our mandate is to
I love it.
Provide maximum employment, use our tools to foster maximum employment and price stability. And we're using those tools really now to restore price stability at a time of the highest inflation in 40 years. I think that the same people who are having
This guy is awesome. I have a lot more respect for Fed Chair Powell.
Are also experiencing high.
He literally just listened to a monologue where somebody was trying to sit there and say, look, I attacked this guy. And he just goes right back to us like, listen, I have certain tools. My tools are raising rates. Sorry. To me, I argue, thank God rates are finally. I've been saying on this channel for 2 years, we need higher rates. Low rates create bubbles. Keep going.
Costs for all the basic necessities of life, and one of our most fundamental roles at the central bank is to keep price stability. So we have to prioritize that in what we do.
Yeah, I understand the
Do you?
tools and the mandate, but my concern is that we could have a cure that's worse than the disease. It doesn't do families any good.
Amazing.
If we stabilize housing prices while mortgage rates
It does.
continue to skyrocket, it doesn't matter to me why a house is unaffordable. Maybe the house is unaffordable. Maybe the mortgage is unaffordable. Unaffordable is unaffordable. How does the Federal Reserve consider the total price of home ownership, including costs of mortgages, in executing that mandate to keep prices stable?
Housing inflation is a very important component of various inflation indexes, and the way that's calculated.
I wonder what he does when he goes home. Does he go to his wife and go, God, that was these idiots? He's got to. And he's doing such a great job just staying calm. This is why if I was Fed chair, I'd be fired in about 13 seconds. I'd be like, what are you, an idiot? Like, come on, what are you doing? You're stupid. Why would you even ask this question? Oh my God, he's just pandering to his audience.
It's the economists look at rents, and then for people who own a home, they impute a rent depending on the value of the home. So it actually does factor in, and I would say measures of new leases that are being signed and new housing prices show significant declines in inflation, not in price.
He is absolutely correct. Rents are going down and home prices are starting to come down. New home prices are going up, but existing home sales prices are going down.
But in inflation. And that will play through so that overall inflation over the course of the next 6 months or a year will decline.
If we're seeing mortgage rates go up, yes or no, does this discourage folks who may have a low interest mortgage rate from putting their home on the market and then possibly paying double the cost on a mortgage for their new house?
It certainly could. People who are in a low mortgage, a fixed rate, low rate mortgage, I would assume many of them are not moving.
Does raising the federal interest rate change the cost of borrowing for a company hoping to develop new housing?
Yes.
Does it make it more expensive for suppliers to finance expanding production and meet supply needs?
It does.
Does it give businesses less wiggle room to offer higher wages and attract qualified workers?
Indeed.
Yeah. So all of these actions.
God, he's good. Chairman Powell's good. He's like, yes, it is. Hit him right between the eyes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It costs more. Yeah, absolutely. 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 You know what else I'd say? Well, guess what? Now you can sit money in the bank and get 5% over on 90-day Treasury for that's pretty good. You weren't able to get that before. I don't hear this Senator Warren talking about that right now, that you can get 5% for money sitting in the bank. When in 1987, I opened a checking account with my father with $100 in it, and I was paid 6% interest. Now, you can't get 6% from a bank right now, but if you put your money in 90-day Treasuries or something like that, you'll get 4.94% as of this morning. It's pretty solid. Pretty solid. I don't hear them talking about that. How great that is, because before a long time it was, oh man, we can't get any money in our savings account. Banks aren't paying us anything. Those greedy a-holes. Where are you now? Anyways, I hope you like what you've seen here. Please subscribe to the channel. Check out dynastyowner.com and comment below on how much you hate me. I don't care. I'm gonna try to be more like Chairman Powell, be more like Zen-like, because that guy's incredible. I can't believe he's just deflecting all these things. Like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. All right, thanks very much, guys. Take care.